having a purpose, a vision, and showing everyone, okay, this is the end goal, this is the outcome, and we will have pain, but this is our North Star.
Starts with yourself. And you have not to fear, you have to love what you do.
Welcome to Out of Our Comfort Zone. Hosted by a high-performance athlete and Guinness World Record holder, this is a podcast where we share actionable strategies, inspiring stories, and expert insights to turn adversity into high potential for ambitious leaders, CEOs, HROs, and athletes seeking to excel in high-pressure environments. Here's your host, Deniz.
Hello, I'm so glad to have Markus Heinen here. This is a really special guest for me. He was the senior partner, the top of the top leader in Big Four Consulting. And I had the pleasure to work with Markus Heinen several years in times where I lived in Frankfurt. Markus, you created the innovation journey with an EY consulting. You created many, many new practices, things. You were the consulting leader. And I'm so glad to have you. This is my last podcast of the year 2025. And for sure, this podcast will be a huge inspiration for leaders, for upcoming leaders, entrepreneurs, and for everyone who wants to grow and shine. So welcome, Markus. Thank you so much for being here.
Deniz, thank you so much. It's really an honor for me. After so many years, we stayed together. Of course, paths sometimes change, but at the same time, I think it's always important that willingness or passion and purpose are bringing us back together. And therefore, especially during these moments of time when it's getting Christmas and we're thinking through that moment, it is really a pleasure and an excitement for me to be with you here today.
Thank you. And yeah, you mentioned now we are coming to the year end and you had a big shift also in your life. So you were, I think, 30 years at EY, right? And the past 20, 25 years really on the top leadership position. And I know how hard it is to get on this partnership level, right? It was always my dream. It was always like in this hamster wheel, let's say, the biggest dream of everyone. Like you start as a consultant, senior consultant, manager, senior manager, and then partner, and then getting a senior partner, and then getting a leader of the senior partner. So you reached all these steps in your life. And that's why your opinions are so valuable. And what I can tell to everyone who's listening, who is watching us, so Markus was not just the top leader. At the same time, he had a rare skill and a rare personality, which I think maybe maximum 5% in the world has. He as a leader was humble. He as a leader was authentic. I always felt your authentic self, your humbleness. You always appreciated people. You always say thank you. You were not caught in this hierarchy levels and you hadn't this ego, let's say, this distance. And that was for me so inspiring, tell you the truth. You are the most inspiring leader, a role model, what I can say in my career. So I want to honor you and tell this openly also in this podcast. And why I'm telling this, so you have so many experience throughout those years. What stood out for you? So what is important for you as a leader?
Yeah, and you see me a little bit red. I'm not sure if you can see it. Thank you so much for the huge compliment. It's great for me to hear because one of my love languages is word of affirmation, and therefore I like when sometimes people give me this positive feedback. So starting from the point, I think 30 years being with a firm like EY, and then ultimately, it was really interesting to observe myself a little bit and being 23 years a partner, being one of the founding fathers of consulting when we have started to reestablish it, created the strategy practice in the early days. I went through all of the service lines. I led a huge, big account globally. So I made all of the roles. And some people asked me when I ended my career now, they said, Markus, but how can it be that you are only with one company? And how can this be the case? And so number one, I was always thankful and didn't pitch for something very special and never really had career in my mind. For me, it was always the outcome we as a team have created and things we have created new. So when I was asked to join the supervisory board discussion, someone asked me, okay, you've done so many things. how can you describe this in one page? So what can you bring to the party? So I will never forget that sentence, and that had happened 6 months ago. So that was interesting for myself as well, because I was starting then to draw a picture, and then there was a pattern. The pattern was that I was always interested to learn. I was always keen for learning something new and not having a fear about what is coming next and potentially getting disrupted, or that has led to this all innovation mindset. And at the same time, I've obviously had a talent to create something which did not exist before. So it was not a mature business. I was growing. So I was trying to establish something new, totally brand new, and then starting to grow it. And I mean, having today EY 150,000 consultants, where I was a part of 5 founding fathers on the globe, I would say it went pretty well from that perspective. That time will change now. That's a different story. But at the same time, that was the pattern with one of them. Or the other thing was also very interesting. It was the first pattern. So creating something new which did not exist before. The second thing, where obviously I had some strengths I can bring to the table, was in a very difficult, distressed situation for any department or area I led. It was obviously important. I had a chance to tell the people, okay, see, it's going to be a valley of pain. It's going to be very painful, but here is a future. Here's a vision. You don't have to be afraid of what's coming. So let's work together on the future outcome. So even if it's going to be hard for everyone, but there will be a future for you, for us, for everyone. And even if it's not for you as being part of the journey, you will learn so many things that you can apply it in other occasions. So even it was not only focus on the company itself, it was beyond, because I mean, at the end of the day, humans are beyond the borderlines of organizational boundaries. So from that perspective, I was always, honest. I was very hopefully trusted, and also visionary or perspective, which has given me the energy and the trust with the team to achieve everything, even if it was sounded almost impossible. And that was something I learned, and I must say I'm absolutely honored that I had a chance to lead so many different teams throughout my entire career. And 30 years with EY is obviously true. It's one company. But thinking about the amount of things I made, it was, I forgot to count the amount of roles. I was almost every 3 to 5 years in a different role, even it was absolutely totally different from what I've done before. So, and that is something which I think has given me always the chance. And growing within the organization then was also something where I said, okay, it's something I get back. So it's the other way around things. It's not seeking for a career path or a role or a title or whatever. It is at the end of the day being very focused on the things you want to achieve as a team, giving always something back to people, be a part of the flattened team, whatever rank you are, and then you will get something back from the organization. That was always my mindset and my highest philosophy. I said, if the challenging parts are not getting the majority within a firm, and it's not appreciated anymore, then it's time to go for me. But this never happened to me. It was always the point that I had a chance to grow further with the opportunities I got.
So that means what you said, number one is creating something what didn't being created before. So being creative, innovative. And number two, you said having a purpose, a vision, and showing everyone, okay, this is the end goal, this is the outcome, and we will have pain, but this is like our North Star, right? So you offered always like a common goal where everyone could relate on, regardless of hierarchy levels and so on. But at the same time, so EY is also a structured company, right? It's a big company. There are many rules, many admin rules and compliance rules and so on. So how did you also ensure that your ideas will be approved? How could you convince your environment? Because also many people having a fear of taking risks, fear of the unknown. And you were always a leader, like you had always a vision, you were futuristic. But how you could be this and exist and also have a great impact to your environment? Because thinking innovative or futuristic is one thing, but also bringing others to the table and building practices and consulting teams and projects, it's another thing.
So it's an interesting question. And honestly, I don't know if I have the ultimate solution or answer for that. But I found out during my career is that leaders have to determine a future. And at the end of the day, a good leader in these days are always leaving something behind in a better shape what they have taken over. So that is usually, and that's called stewardship at the end of the day. But I found out that a lot of people are managing things, not leading things. And managing things means you're working in a structure, you're following the principles. And of course, the rules and the regulations are there for a good reason. Especially when an organization grows, then you are having many hierarchy levels, and then it's getting extremely complex. So you need some control mechanisms to make sure it moves in the same direction. At the same time, I was always an individual or leader, I hope, which was given back responsibility and accountability. Because if you understand the future is the purpose and my purpose, and I find the perspective in it, and I have an idea, even if it will probably not be successful, but give it a chance to try it out and then fail and learn from it. It's traditional, very old mindset of innovation. But at the end of the day, it's very important that you give the room to act and delegating also the power to the bottom. And that was something where I said, it's something I learned throughout my career, that the power comes from the people and giving something back. And then not trying to tell the people what is the right way to go, being perceived more as a coach, more as a mentor, helping the people to make the right decisions is the best leadership you can have, especially when the world is not clear, when the path isn't clear, when it's very uncertain what is out there, because then people getting not only energized, they feel are appreciated, and they go an extra mile, which is important for an overall organization to be successful. There's at the moment a lot of rumors around one company in Leverkusen, Bayer, and a lot of people are writing about it. How far is Phil Anderson and the DSO team and Michael Lurie are going to go? Because they have decided in the end of through the entire DSO model to delegate everything down to very small tiger teams and structured teams, and then trying to achieve something, because structure with a lot of hierarchies lead to the fact that you are slowing down an entire organization. You're losing pace, and you're losing also the passion and the energy of the teams and the things. And we will see how Bayer is going to work out, but it's a very great example because it was applied to the entire organization. I have seen it and I've done it also in bits and pieces. By the way, you asked me at EY. Yes, we are a very large organization nowadays. When I started, it was 60,000. Now when I left, it was 400,000 people, a little plus around the world. So you need structure to do it. But at the same time, I hope I always have put some flexibility aside, giving it and delegating it to the teams to try something out, learning from it, feeding it back to the other teams, and then growing from that perspective. And that is something which I think makes a good leadership, especially in uncertain times, so relevant, and probably more relevant as never before.
Yeah, and especially now in the world of AI, everything seems uncertain. Many high qualified people also even losing their jobs. They work 10, 20, 30 years in one company. They're losing their jobs and they don't know what to do with their high qualified background, right? Also, the young generation has now struggled to find a job. So I think we are now in a really difficult but also challenging, but also a time where we have a lot of options maybe, right? So the Dr. Joe Dispenza, the quantum physician, always say in the unknown, there are unlimited possibilities. But if you can't see all the possibilities, then you feel overwhelmed and you feel even anxiety, right? So, and that's why what you said, adaptability and resilience are still the key and future skills, which will get more and more important, right?
Yeah, so it is absolutely the case. So being yourself and trying to achieve something by yourself is getting more important than ever before. Getting told what you need to do is going to be very challenging. Because why? I mean, we have seen in the blue-collar environment 100 years ago, the industrialization, the machines have taken it over in the manufacturing, in the production environments. And you see now even how far the world moved on in terms of the typical robotics area. So, and it will continue. But somehow those people started to find new ways. So some of them became controllers of machines, CNC machines, or became controllers of an entire production plant. So they have been growing alongside next to the robotics. And the same, and some of them also moved into the white collar jobs, which is actually, and you said it, it's going to be a tap. No one knows when, and no one knows if it will pay off. If you, on the other side, see the investments undertaken by those who have the money. I mean, we're not talking about millions. We're talking about billions of money thrown into the entire AI game.
Yeah.
And it's obviously you see the impact. I mean, I even don't know who is not using one of those GPTs. It doesn't matter if it's Gemini. So everyone is using it more increasingly. But the question is, does it pay off? Is it really able to replace a job a white collar jobs are doing at the moment? So from that perspective, we will see. But if you are absolutely right, it's an uncertainty for those humans. And the question is, what comes next? And I have a positive feeling that, number one, humans always have been able to, with a level of resilience, to adjust and to learn and to find a path through it. At the same time, I'm always have said it also in my times leading the people advisory services for 6 years. I said it, see guys, it's 2030, 64% of the jobs are unknown. The only thing is, what is absolutely relevant is that you are finding your purpose and then also the skills required. Even if those people don't know it yet, and no one can tell it at the moment, it's super difficult. But as long as you don't start in small habits and change and adjustments, to follow that and trying to find it, it's a little bit like a treasure hunting exercise, then you will never find it. So waiting until a manager is going to tell you what you need to do and what you need to learn, that's the old world. This is not going to happen, honestly speaking, from my personal point of view. So you have to start to disrupt yourself, or and especially re-innovate yourself. So you need to think about what I love, what I do every day, and this is where you can succeed.
Yeah, I love this. And many people I coach now, many CEOs and leaders, and even they sometimes struggle to answer the question why you are waking up every day and earning money. For what? What is your purpose? And some really leaders, they are working 20, 30 years, they are struggle to answer this question. They say, I don't know, I have a family, I have a mortgage to pay, I work, but what is the bigger purpose? And they ask, how can I find my purpose? And I remember at EY times, we had also like trainings to find your purpose and everything, but you cannot find the purpose just with the training, with the workshop or reading a book, right? So during my EY time, I also recognized my purpose is, I think, stepping out of comfort zone, inspiring first myself and then others, because I want to practice what I preach, right? First, I want to have the experience as a firsthand to explain. And suddenly, wow, that became my purpose. And everything what I did shaped my behavior. But many people outside, they struggle with finding the purpose. They struggle with reinventing themselves. So based also on your experiences, because you were also a leader who always talk about not just KPIs, also about purpose, about mindfulness, how people can find their own purpose if they still not know, or how they can deal with the uncertainty when they feel, oh, I will be replaced by AI, what I should do now, what's next?
Yeah, so again, it starts with you as an individual. And some people are more introverted, some people are more extroverted. There's millions of personality tests out there, how you can measure that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter which one it gives. It starts with the point that you are starting to know yourself. This is whatever you are and what you are good at, what you love to do. And I refer to the love languages too. Some people like gifts, some people like the word of affirmation, some people like the quality time, some people the act of service. And some people like hugging, like me. I like hugging. One of my daughters do not like so much the hugging. At the same time, she has different love language components, which is more appreciated and gives her more energy. So everyone needs to have to find their own language and their own perspectives. And that makes it so hard because it's not a one-size-fits-all exercise. So that's number one. The second part is, and I had the chance to join, I got introduced to a program. It's called Love, Not Fear. And I explicitly want to mention it because I really like David Hensel, who has created it, and Tina, who have introduced me into the program. So I was joining that for 8 weeks. And of course, I'm now in my retirement phase, so I can join these programs. And the good thing is not only attending or participating, it's also working on it. And it was interesting for me because some of the components I did my entire life, but in a comprehensive way, it was a program of 8 weeks, and it was starting to define your purpose. It was starting to create your vision and all of that. And of course, it was a little bit easier. I had my vision board, I had my purpose defined and so on. But then later on, there was two components which I really would like to mention here in the podcast, which I learned through that exercise for me as well. In the year 2025, again, after 30 years career at EY, so it's still is room for learning. And the great thing was that I started to recognize the structure you give is pretty simple and should be normal for everyone, but it's sometimes forgotten because you are bound to your job. It's called professional. You are professionally working on your life. And the second part is the personal life. So you as an individual. And then it's family and community. So it's three components, three domains, whatever you are thinking about. And people and life is not that you can balance it all the time right from the beginning, and you will not do it every day. But because different priorities, sometimes you're working harder in your professional life, sometimes you have a personal issue to cope with because you're getting ill or so, or you have to focus on your family because you're getting children or your family is growing, your parents have challenges. So whatever, sometimes priorities are shifting. So it was number one, it was important to understand, okay, those three domains have the equal right to exist.
Yeah.
And then the second thing was the atomic habit behavioral change, which is not talking about a dream or talking about a vision board is one thing, but then making it happen is so it becomes part of your activities, part of your daily life. It's the harder task. And what I really liked on the program, we have been asked to do every week three tasks in each of the domains. And then on Sunday, you are reflecting what have you achieved in a week. And then you define what you want to do next week. So you're ticking off the individual items, and then you're starting off, I did it, I succeeded, or I didn't have the time to do it. And what was the priority again? So you're shifting it again a little bit. But throughout that exercise, if you do it for 8 weeks, then even on that point, it becomes the new normal. It becomes like cleaning your teeth. It's a tooth. It's something which is normal, and that is the behavioral, the mindset change. And then it becomes part. And I got so much energy for myself because I focused in September for myself, which I probably never have done before, not in that intensity. I lost 20 kilos. I have my energy level back. It's really super. And I will continue to do it. I mean, Christmas makes it hard. It's January, I'm starting to kick off in the next wave, and then it's something which is focused. At the same time, now being on my personal life and enjoying the time with my wife, and after 30 years, and I'm sometimes joking saying I was only 10 years with my wife married because I was 20 years not within the family. Probably not right, but it's a little bit shows the intensity I had. So now
on your professional life,
reinvesting a little bit more into family, and I'm calling every week. My daughter is spreading around the world, and also investing into the local community. It's also important having some friends. Even sometimes you're talking about very simple stuff, but it's important for you as humans to exchanging and living a little bit of different life. And I must say, you see me here sitting, not only being appreciated and excited to enjoy attending a podcast. In the last 6 months, when I've given up all of my jobs, it's really focused on personal, family, and community, and then also reinventing myself in the professional life, what I really like, what I want to do. I didn't stop doing it. I started to read again, a lot of new things, and I must say I'm absolutely thrilled. And this is an advice everyone should do. It doesn't matter what age you have, in which situation you are. I think it helps you so much to reinvent and building resilience based on the things you don't know and you probably cannot change.
So what I love that you say the growth mindset, you always, no matter in which toppest position you were, you always wanted to grow and learn. And now what you mentioned with this program is atomic habits. So taking action and having these three dimensions, right? Professional life, community, family, and your personal life. And what I hear now from you is that the last 30 years, when you were the senior partner in the Big Four consulting, you prioritized more your professional life, which many of our readers, watchers maybe do, right? So over prioritizing the business, the earning money, making career. And sometimes you have sacrifices, unfortunately, with your personal life, with your own health. What you also mentioned, that now suddenly you focus on your personal life and you lost 20 kilos, right? So that means maybe in the past you didn't do sport, you didn't take care of what you eat, what you drink. You were maybe overstressed to making your professional life successful, but the sacrifice was maybe your health, right? And your personal life, family, a little bit community, what you mentioned. And this is aligning with my new upcoming book, From Fear to Peak Flow. And I'm speaking about peak performance in flow, which it means how you can reach your peak, your inner peak, your peak performance, but where you are in flow, in synchronicity with your mind, with your body, with your emotions, and with your soul. So all those 4 pillars, because most of the time we forget to focus on those 4 pillars. We work hard, forget sleeping, we eating a lot because of stress, forget eating healthy and taking care of ourselves, or we underestimate having regeneration time. We sprint and sprint, right? And at the end, we ask ourselves why I have headache or why I'm ill. And I think now, after 30 years, you say now you have time for us to focus on those pillars also, right? So what you mentioned, taking action, doing behavior change, and not knowing it as a theoretical point, because you as a leader, you always spoke about purpose. You always spoke about being fit and taking care of your health and so on. But knowing it, saying it, and doing it, it's sometimes different things, right?
It's a bigger thing, and this comes where the habits or the change in terms of your mindset is going to have the biggest impact. Because I mean, of course, I was ill in 2013 and 14. I had cancer at the time, and I went through all of that pain cycles too, right? And I lost weight, I increased it again. The healthy, and exactly what you described is part of our life. It's daily life. But now, being through that journey and thinking about it with a little bit being outside of that structure, it has helped me so much to reconsider. And of course, I cannot change what I did wrong at the time, but now it's hopefully for me sufficient time way forward not to fall in the same trap again. And that was really the framework helped me a little bit in that regard. And even if I'm eating a little bit more in a moment in Christmas time, I have always in my mind, okay, next week I'm doing something more and do a little bit sport more and changing it. And that is something which and it's small things. See, it's not the big things you need to, you can have big dreams, but I'm a big fan of agile or adaptability in general. You do it in iterations, right? I mean, important is that you have some area, some focus where you want to go, and then over a period of time you will get there, even if you don't have a plan. Plan today is really something you can only fail. It's plan. Plan is pretty much difficult because time has shortened, complexity has increased, a lot of uncertainties. Every day there's something new. So planning is something you only get surprises if you plan and you're trying to follow. It's a little bit more learning your resilience and your way of thinking. But here comes the most important point, which is not only yourself, Deniz, it's also the area we're living. Humans need people, being surrounded by people, talking to a chatbot or talking to any device or to an avatar. I don't know where we as humans are heading towards. You probably cannot avoid it. But at the same time, this exchange we are having today, and hopefully we will continue on this 26 and so on, is very personal, is more important. And that is sometimes forgotten. And you see the level of aggressiveness in the society is raising everywhere. People don't know where communities, where countries, where entire continents are moving, because we are all living in a shift of the world. But I think we can start with small pieces to improve it. And having this exchange is so valuable, and taking the positive things out of it is more important as talking always about the negative thing. And that's something where I always gained, and hopefully I will sustain it, the positive mindset and positive view on the future.
And out of comfort zone question then to you. You said 30 years consulting, top leadership. What would you do differently? Would you do anything differently when you would have the chance to go back 20 years, 10 years?
So a lot of things happened. I think, I don't know, maybe sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's accident. So it was not really planned, I must say. What would I do different? Sometimes I would say, Deniz, I would fight even harder for my teams, for the goals we have achieved, because sometimes I was then also a little bit bound to the structures and have just followed and listened. I was talking and fighting. Some of the leaders still today in the firm said, Markus, you are like a lion. You're always fighting so hard for your community. And I hope sometimes I have probably done it more often or more harder and working with more passion even on that regard. Because world is shifting. And I said it 5 years ago, even when I took over the People Advisory Service, I will never forget the moment when it was before Corona. And I said, see, guys, don't know. I mean, I'm not a tax expert, but mobility is going to shift big times. It will change. Don't know how long it will take, 3 to 5 years. Probably it's going to hurt your jobs. It hurts your individual situation. Because either we are going to shift more to labor arbitrage, taking people from other parts of the world. But what will happen in any case, and we started with that already during my career, we're using AI to replace those types of activities. But I also offered those people an opportunity to reinvent themselves and starting to think about what you're going to do. And I will never forget one sentence from a manager. She asked me then 4 years later in the Munich office, Markus, can I have a minute? And I said, of course you can have a minute. So we stepped aside. And then she said, thank you. And I said, okay, for what? And then she said, thank you for giving this very heavy speech in Munich, where you always told us, okay, it's going to be hard for us. It's going to be hitting every one of us. I've done my traditional tax career, tax declaration, and doing all this mobility work. But now I read all the books you have recommended. I started to reinvent myself, and I'm doing jobs today which I absolutely love. But even more important, I'm more happier with my wife, with my husband, and with my daughter.
Oh.
And I said, this is an appreciation where you really see it is possible, whatever, but it starts with yourself. And you have not to fear, you have to love what you do. And that's the reason why I like the program, Love Not Fear, or your description of your new book, which is coming, and really looking out to see the book being released so that I can consume it. It's really something where I'm absolutely convinced that everyone is able to make the change, even if the path isn't clear.
Even the path isn't clear, focusing on what we love. And this is best medicine against fear, right? Anxiety arises, uncertainties arises. And what is our compass? Our compass is our fears. And the best compass is what we love to do, like Ikigai, the Japanese philosophy, right? Do what you love, do what the world needs. You can earn money. And if everything matches, it is the best. And you're inventing yourself. Now in this world, don't know maybe how to reinvent, but as you said, sometimes the road is unclear, but the purpose, the end goal be clear. And then how we go there, how we get there, I can't plan, as you said. I love this. Planning can fail most of the time, especially in those uncertain times, but having a clear picture of a vision, what we want to do, what we love is really key. So, and for that, you need to connect to yourself, connect to your heart, connect to your soul. And even that is sometimes scary for people. If you ask, what is your dream, what you love? They say, oh, I forget what I love. I'm functioning, I'm successful. But I also now reflect in this book on the peak flow is, it's not just important to be successful, it's important to feel in peace with yourself, to feel in flow, right? So what is success really? It's not just having a top position. So at the end, you need to be happy, right? As well.
I think that's the biggest thing. I see it's today you see me here, I'm sitting at home and someone asking, okay, how do you do what you got doing? And honestly speaking, I do not have even a car anymore at the moment. I'm using the car my wife has always taken because it was not the highest priority for me. It was not a status symbol I was looking for. So there's a couple of things which you can also get released and getting rid of, and you still find yourself much more appreciated. And I think it's really important that you are continue to focus on the things which you really, as you said, you love and you have to find. And at the same time, would like to mention one last comment here. I'm always sometimes referring to Maslow. Everyone knows this Maslow pyramid where you're starting on very basic things and then you're growing in your life. And then at the end of the day, you are coming to the top of the pyramid, which is called then self-confidence, right? And the self-confidence, you are seeing a lot of people are very, very individualized, very personalized. They're very isolated, I would say, also in that regard. And that is very important. And you see it when sometimes you see it in Insta or social media. Actually, so important for a lot of people. I'm not sure if this is the successful continuance of our life, but I think sometimes it's important that we do not forget the lower levels of the Maslow pyramid, because humans, as I said, need the exchange. And it's not about your own individual success or achievement, because then we are living in a world where everyone is fighting against each other.
Lonely wolves.
Lonely wolves. And this is where I see also, even you take the analogy of wolves. I mean, they are fighting in their pairs in a structure. And they have clear roles. I mean, the oldest wolves in the front, the youngest at the back. In the middle are the female and the children of the wolf, and you see in the second area is the strong fighters or the growing wolves. So they are protecting the entire community. See, and this is, and even if you can be a lonely wolf, it is also important not to forget that you are a community. That is super important, and from that perspective, we can learn also, by the way, a lot from nature.
Exactly. So even if you're a lonely wolf, you need always a community. No one goes to the peak alone, right? And you need all these communities. And that's why I love your motto to not be successful, but also ensure others people's success, right? So this is also on your LinkedIn. I think you have like a LinkedIn motto, which I really like. Your mission is making other people successful, making other people shine. And I think that's also a really big skill for leaders, to not have the ego, me, myself, and I, really making sure that other people shine, other people can grow, other people can appreciate it. So what would you tell the new generation and new upcoming leaders, kind of things you would like to get based on all your wisdom, all your experiences?
I think what we can learn, let's start with that from the young generation, especially the Gen Z, the alphas, and some, especially now, the betas are going to be born. So you will see a lot of changes in that generation. I'm absolutely convinced that we can learn as a little bit older generation their tech savviness. So number one is very important that cannot avoid technology. Probably don't have to be the best friend, but you have to live in coexistence with technology. Even if you're afraid of AI, you have to think about, or quantum computing or robotics or whatever technology is rising, is at the end of the day, you have to be part of that game, taking it positive, but still trying continuously to find your purpose and your role, in that entire complex world. That's something we can learn from the younger generation. At the same time, the younger generation started to already understand, number one, planet exploitation will continue. Planetary issues are going to have sustainability issues will rise. So they have a higher awareness that we need to do something which is very important to succeed in their life. So, and they also learned, maybe it's because of Corona, I'm not sure if this is not read sufficient research at the moment for that. Maybe it's based on Corona has done a lot with us, and also in terms of appreciating work-life balance, being at home, spending a little bit more time with family. So you see not this generation being there only on focusing on your professional life. They maybe have their instinctive behavior already available, saying, okay, there must be a balance between family, community, personal, and professional life. So at the same time, that's good. At the same time, younger generation will have, of course, a challenge. What should I learn? What should I do? I mean, all the traditional training or learning education curriculums are in a moment outdated when they are released or when they're going through school.
Yeah.
And you see it already. I would like to mention or especially focus on that one data point I read recently. I think it's in Germany. In the first time we had the bachelor degrees who were mega bachelors, the unemployment rate has raised from 2.1 to 2.9 in 1 year. It's
Wow.
still full employment. So still, if you have your bachelor degree, you will obviously find a job. But there is something deeper in that level. Number one is the question, what do you really learn is helping the company to continue? And so number one, so is it fit for purpose?
Yeah.
And the second thing is the company willing to invest in young people or humans instead of right from the beginning investing into AI? Because there is an advantage AI has.
Yeah.
It's huge, a lot of disadvantages too. But the ability to adjust and being passionate about the things, hopefully, this is what young people should take. And again, coming back to love, not fear, getting out of the comfort zone. That is the reason why I really loved your first book, and hopefully we'll see the next one coming soon. I think it's an appreciation by yourself and focusing what I can bring to the table and not getting told what I need to bring to the table.
Yeah.
That is something we as parents can learn. So
Mm.
educating our children in the right way, that they are
Finding their own
self-standing,
answers. Yeah.
absolutely, or they are themselves starting to get engaged, reading and being curious on the world is so rich and we can learn so many things every day. I hope there is a positive outcome on the long run for everyone, and I'm absolutely sure it will.
So many options. So we need to keep our growth mindset and our curiosity as well, and also for the younger generation. And what's next for you? What is your out of comfort zone step?
Yeah, so honestly speaking, I'm still on the professional path, as I mentioned. I'm still finding you. I love the getting a little bit more familiar with the topics and so on. I had it always in my mind, and I'm invested already even before the entire wave started, trying to be ahead of the curve. At the same time, I got absolutely excited about I think it's 50, and the leaders who have been presenting their new outcomes, their new research, and so on, and what is fundamentally in there. And my daughter had a chance I couldn't make it in London this time. My daughter was there presenting, not me, but she engaged it too. And it was again the humbleness, the thing of even those people who have really something to say, that they are open for conversation, even with young talents. And that is something which I really get a lot of energy, and reading the books and understanding what is the essence. And honestly speaking, it's a little bit what you said earlier. It's not about new themes on innovation or entirely new strategies got to be released or the way of thinking. It's majority of those thinkers have people as part of their research. It's 80% plus. Trying to identify what is coaching, mentoring, teaming, future perspectives in that regard. How does that cope with the future perspectives? And that is something which I really love. And you will find me hopefully either in one or the other supervisory board where I can help leaders today leading those companies as a good steward into a new world, being very successful, or I helping one or the other people based on my purpose, making other people successful in their journey to them to navigate through these uncertainties. And on private life and personal life, personal and my family and community life, my children and my wife is the biggest and the most important achievement and luck I had in my life. So I would like to give something back. Yeah. So I'm spending a little bit more time with my family, spending much more time with my wife, and I'm enjoying it in the moment entirely. But at the same time, will not stop my reset on my personal life. I will focus on the things which keeps me healthy, which keeps me my mind fresh and new, and that's something which I hope I can continue, and I will focus and make this happen as my plan. And if I make this things in balance, then I'm absolutely thankful.
Oh, love it. So taking care of yourself, so me time, so personal care, family time, quality time, community, and loving your purpose, making others shine, making others successful in the uncertain times. So I'm really looking forward to stay in touch with you, and I will share my book with you as soon as it will published. It will publish in January or February, From Fear to Peak Flow. And really appreciate your time, your energy, your wisdom in this call. Thank you so much for joining this podcast. So any ending messages to our watchers before we end this podcast today?
Stay positive and take the energy to translate it into a future. That's the most important thing I have in my mind. And as you said, stay humble. Don't try to be only focused on yourself and being too isolated. It's not the way forward from my point of view. And thank you so much for inviting me for that podcast. And I'm absolutely sure we always see twice in our life. We've seen so many times, and we will continue to stay in touch and exchanging. We learn from each other every time, and I really appreciate the communication and discussion we have. So therefore, thank you for having me.
Thank you. So stay positive and stay humble. You're stronger with other people. Great. Thank you. So have a happy new year and see you then next year.
You too, huh? Thank you.
If you'd like to learn more about how we can help transform your life and live to your fullest potential in your personal or professional life, we invite you to visit our website at outofourcomfortzone.com. By the way, if you enjoyed listening to the show, please subscribe and rate it. Thank you.